I'm going to continue with the mimer again, the early years of Shavuos Tafshin Yud. So it's Shavuos, the holiday Shavuos of 1950. So it's a few months after the Friedrich passed away. Again, today's Yud Beis, so it's kind of a tashlumim of the Rishon. So it's appropriate to learn a talk of the Rebbe on Shavuos still today and tomorrow, actually. So we're talking about the Hira, the lesson of the idea we said before that was a nivus, and the idea that a person has to know, the idea that there was the Torah was that through true humility a person can reach Simcha. So the Rebbe explains, another lesson we can learn that a person has to take from the idea of doing a shlichus, a mission from the Rebbe, whether we're talking about a specific shliach or any person, without asking any questions or doubts. Something that we find especially unique to the second day Yom Tov in Chutz La'aretz of Shavuos, even versus the other Chagim. Even in comparison to the second day Chag on the Yom Tov of Shavuot, of Pesach and Sukkot. Why? Yom Tov Sheni Deshar Moedim Hu Kedei L'Kai Minig Avaseinu Shahoya Oisim Beis Yom Tovim Mitzat Tzvei Kediyim. Why do we have 2 days? Because back in the day when they were Mekadosh HaPiariyah, when we didn't know when the new month was, so we didn't know what they exactly, and if you lived far away, you didn't know exactly what day was the 15th, so you weren't sure, so you had to keep 2 days. If you have to keep 2 days, you don't know if today's the 15th, today's the 16th. So therefore, we kept an extra day just to make sure. So it was based on Tzvei Kediyim. There was a doubt. It means there was some level of doubt, and that's why we have 2 days Yom Tov. Even though today we have a calendar that says clearly when the 6th of Sivan is, or when the 15th of Nisan is, or the 15th of Tishrei, or the 1st of Rosh Hashanah, etc. So why do we keep 2 days today? We have a calendar. So because at one point they didn't know when Rosh Chodesh was in Eretz Yisrael. That's only applicable to all other holidays. And so why do we? So the foundation of it was a doubt. Even if we have a calendar, there's this love. It started off with doubt. There's one thing about Chag HaBikkurim, Shavuos, is always 50 days from Pesach. So it has nothing to do with the day of the month. It doesn't make a difference to us. If Nisan, if Iyar was 29 days or 30 days, because we always count 50 days from the second night of Pesach. And by that point, everyone knows when the 50 days started, meaning the second day of Pesach. Shavuos could be 5, 6, or 7 of the month of Sivan. Why? Because it all depends. If Iyar has 30 days or 29 days, if Nisan has 30 days or 29 days, so it could be both a double month and then it's the 5th. It could be lacking and both is the 7th, or it could be 1 and 1 and then it's the 6th. It's all depending on when was the new month of Iyar and the new month of Sivan. It's all about 50 days of the Omer. And by then everyone knows when Nisan was, so therefore when the 15th was, and therefore when we start counting on the 16th, Chag HaPesach, so therefore there's no one who doesn't know when the 50th day is. So why do we make 2 days in Chutz La'aretz? It's because we want to make it that all Yom Tovim and Chutz La'aretz are 2 days, and Yom Tovim in Eretz Yisrael are 1 day. And therefore, when we say le plug, there shouldn't be any separation. It's totally a takaras chacham, has nothing to do with the suffix, with the doubt. So, meaning to say, Kloimer, Yom Tov Sheni the Shara Moedes who would pay suffix. There's some doubt of when the 15th was, or when the first was, so we don't know when the 15th was. Therefore, we keep 2 days. Lashenkin Yom Tov Sheni the Chag HaShavuos, so Levin pay suffix. There's never doubt. Yom Tov Vadai. So therefore, there's more of it's a stronger day of Yom Tov. Why? Because in the 15th. Of Nisan and Tishrei, let's say Sukkot, and especially Rosh Hashanah, even if we say Yom HaRichta, at the end of the day, there's some sort of doubt. It's not 100% if it's Sukkot not here, 100% Pesach. Here we know for sure it's not. No, boss. The Chacham made a takana, like plug. So therefore, it's a vada Yom Tov. So it turns out at the end of the day, we're keeping 2 days for us. We're keeping it stronger the second day than we would the second day of Sukkot and Pesach. There's no doubt. And he Kedushas Vadais is 100% at takana of Chacham. But the Yom Sheni Shal Rosh Hashanah, Shem Sheni Shal Rosh Hashanah, Einim Bnei Safek. Same thing. He instituted when it comes to Rosh Hashanah. That's that because it's not, sometimes it's not possible to bring the carbon in time. Because even in Bezdin, it wasn't a suffix when the date is. It's nevertheless they had to keep even if they were Makadosh the day too late, then they had to keep 2 days. Then they did the carbon musaf the first day, and it could be that it wasn't really the second. It turned out to be the next day, so they kept 2 days. And like Halacha says, it's considered one long day, and therefore it actually applies to the differences when it comes to Erev Tafshil and other things of things that are allowed on the second day mitam. You could always make an Erev. You have a suffix, and it's halachically we actually use this suffix in pivoting days, but we don't have that suffix when it comes to 2 days Rosh Hashanah. You can't make those pivots. If I'm going to say that if today's Yom Tif, then the Meiser, all these questions that we have, the Rambam brings down that you could sort of say pivot with the 2 days of Yom Tif. That doesn't apply to Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't say if it applies to Atzeres or not. Yom Tif Sheni the Chag HaShavuos Adech Zayim Beis Rosh Hashanah who Yom Tif Fnei Atzmus She'eni Tal B'Yom Tif Rishon. Therefore, it's a total Yom Tif. Seemingly, what the Rebbe is saying here, that all those leniencies of, to say, the days that you could use with Erev Tafshil and Maestros and other things, that wouldn't apply to 2 days Shavuos. I'm presuming, I'm not sure about that. It's at Tzvei Gediyim, but after communal Indian, Katan Shegel B'Yom Tif Sheni. The Rebbe says there's a halachic difference. If someone becomes 13 on the 7th of Sivan, Im Yom Tif Sheni Talib Yom Tif Rishon, Kivin Shepatim Yom Tif Rishon, Patim Begam Yom Tif Sheni. If it's just a suffix, if it's connected. So if you didn't have to keep the first day because you were still 12, and the second day also you don't have to keep, because maybe if the suffix is if it's 15, if it's 15, then you don't keep. And today's not the 16th. You're not bar mitzvah yet. According to the opinion that the second Pesach is a completion, a tashlum for the Rishon. That means you had to have an obligation in the first Pesach, and in order to make up that obligation, you keep the second Pesach. According to those opinions, then according to those opinions, if a boy turns 13 in the middle of this year before your Pesach Sheni, you wouldn't have to keep because you had no obligation in the first Pesach. But if the second day is his own day, so then it's nothing to do if you became bar mitzvah on the second day, then it's its own day Yom Tov. You have to keep it midiraisa, or midirabban, because it comes to rabban, you'd have to keep it. What's this mean in avodah sadam? Means the Rebbe is going to go back to the idea that Shavuos is connected more to a person's shlichus of the Rebbe, to keeping the shlichus of the Rebbe, not asking any questions. And we find that in Shavuos more than other Yom Tovim. Why? Up here you do it based on the known. The whole concept of doubting something, it's rooted in the nature of a malik, because it's the same gematria number value. Shinyani the karer, the idea of doubt. What's the point of doubt? To cool the hatas fakes b'kedusha. For instance, 1 second, I have to do it, don't have to do it. Is this really what Hashem wants? Is this really what the Rebbe wants? Person has to break the idea of a malik, the klipa, the impurity of a malik, which is break the doubt. Don't allow the questions that could possibly throw into your head, to fall into your head, to cause you to have doubt about being connected to the avodah that the Rebbe wants from us. A person has to go full force in the avodah of holiness. What are we talking about? Avodah again, talking about the early years when the Rebbe was talking heavy in his kashrus, is the shlichus of the Rebbe. To do it with strength and certainty. Again, and this we could learn from Shavuos, the second day Shavuos, where the second day is not a doubt, there's no suffix. So Shavuos it empowers a person to annihilate and to push out suffix in our avodah Hashem, and specifically in our avodah of the shlichus of the Rebbe that each person has, each chassid has, and each person who is connected to the Nasiya Dor. Another idea that it says, Kama Yom Tov Sheni Dechag HaShavuos, She'einem Maspika Diyayim, She'einem Misfeka Diyayim, El Betur Vada, Einem Min HaTorah, El Tekon Scham. The end of the day it's a Vada Yom Tov. Why? Because they said Loi Plug. But who says Loi Plug? The Chacham. So it's not the Rai says, like we said before, it's the Rabbanah. But it has the same laws. You make Kiddush, you make Shechiyanu. Because we have a clear pasuk that teaches us that when the Rabbanan say to do something, it has the koyach of Torah. Based on the verse that says which means that according to what the Chacham tell you, you have to listen. And the Torah says you have to listen to the Chacham. Don't go astray from anything the rabbis teach us what to do. The elders are going to tell you what to do. When it comes to a shlichus of the Rebbe, first may say, the Rebbe told me, but the Rebbe says Sechitas, the Rebbe says Rambam. Is that biblical? Is that rabbinic? The Diktuki Sefer, maybe it's just something that's written in a Sefer. Hidr mitzvah is only to add to mitzvah, to beautify mitzvah, but is it an essential? But the fact is that even a diktuk sefer, even a hidr mitzvah, is included in the vort. If it comes from Chacham that this is apiyat yerucha, you have to listen. Don't be astray. Listen to what you're told. Therefore, even though it doesn't even make a difference if it seems like an eitz taiva kamashma. But if it comes from your Rebbe, then it has the biblical strength of the pasuk. Whatever the Rebbe tells you to do it, the Torah tells you have to listen to that. All right. Like I said, this is heavy hiskashrus ideas, and what we're going to learn over the summer. Some of these talks that Rebbe spoke of these years. Likrat Chag HaShavuos Tavshin, in the year Tavshin, 1940, getting ready for Shavuos. Again, the Rebbe is going back to this letter he wrote there to Friedrich Rebbe wrote there to show what Yimak of the sorry, that was Tavshin test. Okay, Tavshin 1940. The previous Rebbe wrote Michtav Miuchad al Talmidei Yeshivas. He wrote a letter to the Yeshiva students. One of the things that the Rebbe wrote in this letter, the Friedrich Rebbe wrote the letter to the students, the Bnei Yeshiva, on around Shavuos time, getting ready for Shavuos Tavshin. That Chag HaShavuos is man Eis Ratz L'man. Shavuos is a special auspicious time of desire, Eis Ratzin. You know, the koyach of an Eis Ratzin, that you could be poil a lot, you could be effective a lot during an Eis Ratzin. And the Rebbe writes, the Rebbe later quotes this in Hayom Yom. Hashem Yisborach matrid is a mekatrig al Am Yisrael. God puts away, matrid, like he subdues the adversaries of the Jewish people, the Satan. Just as is being done at just like we say, this Hashem pushes away the Satan, doesn't want to hear the adversary, the Satan's opinions about Jews. On Rosh Hashanah about the Tkiyas Shofar and the whole day of Yom Kippur, so too that's the way it is in Chag HaShavuos. So the Rebbe says, what's this mean? Chag HaShavuos, and it comes the holiday of Shavuos. It's an auspicious time for a person to be able to be effective in everything when it comes to the studying of Torah and the service of God, of fearing God. Also, this asik b'tshuva. It's a good time for tshuva because you don't have a satan that's being mocked, that's mekatrik and saying, who's this person to study Torah? Who's this person to do tshuva? And again, the Torah, be'ein mafriya misatan and mekatrik. I mean, you can do whatever. You basically have major opportunities without having the voices of adversary of the satan. So the Rebbe is saying that the Friedrich Rebbe was telling them that specifically when it comes to tshuva and good resolutions for Limud Torah, this is a good time to make the resolutions when it comes to Shavuos. And again, we're in the days of Tashlumim right now. I mean, the Rebbe always says that in the days of Tashlumim, you can make up what you didn't do with the Shavuos. The the Rebbe asks, there's still a difference between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Why? When it comes to Rosh Hashanah, God is only kind of subduing and confusing the Satan. When it comes to Yom Kippur, there is no Satan. The Rebbe says, like it says in the Gemara, Satan b'yom Kippur lesler. There is no Satan in Yom Kippur. God sits alone. He doesn't want to hear the Satan when he makes the final judgment on the Jewish people. He has no permission to be a Satan. A Satan b'gematria tlas mea v'shisin v'arba. The Satan is the number value of 359, right? Sorry. Has-Satan, the word Has-Satan is the gematria of 364. Plus Mea Veshisin V'Arba Yom Isa Rishus Listune. Yom Tikpur less Rishus Listune. And he has only 364 days. Not 365. 365 days of the solar year. And that one day of Yom Kippur, he doesn't have a day. And based on the Friedrich Rebbe writes in the letter that Shavuos is like both Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. It's not just like Rosh Hashanah where we're confusing the Satan, but it's like Yom Kippur where there is no Satan. He doesn't want to hear. He doesn't want to hear his voice. This letter that the Friedrich Rebbe wrote to Talmidim in the year Tavshin 1940. We have to learn that letter. To publish the letter. Specifically for those who are not familiar with the letter. But and the Rebbe says even more so. When it comes to learning a letter of the Rebbe and to study any of the Rebbe's teachings, here the Rebbe is going to very deep iskashus idea. When you study the letter, when you read the letter of the Rebbe, you're not just reading it casually. Friedrich Rebbe once wrote something in Tavshin 1940. Or you're opening up a mimer of the Rebbe said this once upon a time, Tavshin Nun, Tavshin Rim, Tavshin Mem, Tavshin Lam. The idea is when you're reading the Torah of a Rebbe, you have to visualize as if the Rebbe is standing in front of you. Bagdama, the Rebbe explains. This idea that a person who learns something, you have to visualize as if the person who you're reading that Torah applies to any time you study Torah. Because who's saying it originally? God. So when you're learning Torah, you have to visualize God is standing in front of you. But is a person has to feel as if God is standing in front of the person. The Tzemach writes, a person has to always remember. And when it comes to Torah, it's not an idea. It's not you're studying a law. You're studying God's Torah. God's standing in front of you. Whenever a person studies, God is standing opposite the person when the person is studying. That's the Tzemach Tzedek explains that every Torah comes from the Eibusher, and therefore a person has to always look as if God is standing in front of them when you learn Torah to have the Av of it specifically the Yira. But the Rebbe says but the simple translation means the person literally who wrote this idea. You're opening up an Or Chaim, the Or Chaim is standing for you. And if you're opening up a Maimer, the Rebbe is standing in front of you. You have to visualize. The Rebbe is going to go into not just visualizing this concept, but actually visualize as if the Rebbe is standing in front of you. The Rebbe adds, there's a story how you do it, which is known from the Tzemach Tzedek. The Tzemach Tzedek once asked the Hasidim and his children to sing the Alter Rebbe's nigun, known as the nigun, the Dal Babis, the 4 stanzas. And he said before they sang the song, it just like when it comes to the Torah of a tzaddik, the Torah of a Rebbe, you have to visualize like the Rebbe is in front of you. So too, when you sing a nigun of the Rebbe, you have to visualize like the Rebbe standing in front of you. And here's a nigun of the Alter Rebbe that the Tzemach Tzedek asked him to sing. The Tzemach Tzedek himself started to sing the Alter Rebbe's nigun. I'm so alive and real that the Chassidim felt that the Alter Rebbe is sitting right next to him. Is that movement? The Rebbe says, misunderstood. When it comes to learning a letter of the Rebbe, we learn a Maimer of the Rebbe. We learn a Sicha of the Rebbe. We learn a Reshima, notes of the Rebbe, Michtav Rebbe, a letter from the Rebbe. A person has to contemplate, and remind themselves We had Seer Shal Rebbe, and to visualize the image of the Rebbe, the picture of the Rebbe. Koilul Gam Elu Shalei Ra'u. The person say, what do you mean? I never saw the Rebbe. Someone of our generation didn't see the Rebbe. How could I visualize the Rebbe? Shi'tzar la'atzmus Rebbe emset tmuna. Take a picture of the Rebbe. There's plenty of pictures of the Rebbe, whether a soft copy or hard copy, and have a picture in front of you. And through that, you're going to visualize the Rebbe standing in front of you. Connect as if the Rebbe is standing in front of you. Shoel, the Rebbe says, let's see how far the Sicha goes. I can't go to the end of the Sicha. We'll go to now a little bit further. Shoel, Atzmus U'Mahus he wants to ask the Alter Rebbe. Sorry, Shoel Atzmus U'Mahus once the Alter Rebbe asked his son, the Middle Rebbe, what did you think about when you were davening Rosh Hashanah? The Heishiv, the Middle Rebbe answered, means his father. He answered his father. He was thinking, he was contemplating, that anything that's standing, bows to God. It means he was contemplating the concept that every creation, even any form, has to kneel and bow to Hashem. You don't stand up. You submit yourself to Hashem. Basically, he was contemplating the concept of bit. That's what he answered. The Middle Rebbe answered his father, the Alter Rebbe. Then he returns the question back to the Alter Rebbe. Vata, what did you think about when you're down? Shall Abraham say? Eser Rabbeinu Zakni asked the Alter Rebbe. What contemplation, great ideas you were thinking? He says, I was davening with my stender. Stender is my table. He asked me when I was davening. I had the stender. I was holding the stender. We're not holding word, whatever that means to daven with the stender, as he say in front of them. Rebbe explains it. I mean, you can talk about the simplicity of the tefillah. You can talk about that to turn even the material of the stender becomes godliness. But anyway, the Alter Rebbe wasn't a joker. He didn't just make jokes. So the Rebbe says we're not holding these levels of maybe not holding the stender. You may not be able to understand what it means that the Rebbe davens with the stender, but look at the stender that the Rebbe davened with. Go to 770, go to the Rebbe's room. That's the idea of going to these places. This is where the Rebbe sat. This is where the Rebbe was. Here's the house that the Rebbe adds. What does it mean to learn the Torah of the Rebbe? Amr Chazal, Rabbis have taught us. Kol Talmud Chacham Shaimer Davar Shmuel Mipiv Be'olam Hazeh Svasev David Beis Bekever. If you repeat something that you heard from the tzaddik, his mouth, and you repeat it even after they pass away, their lips are moving in the grave. It means that the Rebbe's physical body is still connected to the Torahs that he said in his lifetime. V'isa b'Morinaim. Morinaim is the Baal Shem Tov, my friend. He's giving a shir tonight in the Morinaim 32. Says B'Shem of Baal Shem Tov, the name of the Baal Shem Tov. She'efsher loimer ki zu b'chinas ishtatchus al kivur tzadikim. That by learning a mimer of a Rebbe, a Torah of the Rebbe, that it says Chazal says that the lips are moving in the kever. That's like being mishtatach. That means if you can't go to the oil, you can't go to the Rebbe. And learning the Rebbe's Torah is as if you're being mishtatach. You're going to the kever of the tzaddik. It's in the speech of the tzaddik. The tzaddik's Torah is where the essence of the tzaddik is. In Zayin Torah likte, the tzaddik was living in his Torah. And God's Atzmus, the whole essence of the tzaddik is in the tzaddik's Torah. This person who's studying the Rebbe's Torah, when you take your mind and put it together with the mind of the tzaddik, understanding what the tzaddik was saying, that's written in the words. Nikros is dafka berucha besvasev davis bekever. It's your spirit connecting to the spirit of the tzaddik, which is what it means to be mishtatech, to go to a kever b'tzaddik. And you're connecting to the tzaddik like you're standing there in front of the tzaddik's kever. Pisa yesh lefarish, mashpasev Moshe Rabbeinu. It says about Moshe, right? It's brought down. The Gemara and the Pasuk says, wherever you stood on top, you saw on bottom, bottom stood on top, that no one knows where Moshe is buried. The person who's standing above looks like he was buried below. Lamata needs to be below. If you're standing below, it looks like he was buried above. You can't find where the kever is. Not if you're on a high level, on a low level. You can't take where the kever is. It's always somewhere else. Where do you want to get the essence? Where is he buried is in the Torah. But these are bizarre. Mishnah. Want to know where to find them? Find them in the Mishnayos. If for whatever reason you can't go to the Rebbe's oil, when you learn a Maimer in the Sicha, it's mamish the idea of going to the oil. Shiyadu, you should know. When you learn the Rebbe's Torah, it's like you're going to the kever, like you're going to the oil. The Rebbe says even more. If the tzaddik put the Rebbe put himself in his Torah, it's not just you going to the kever. You're mamish being connected one with the Rebbe. A person may say to themselves, I think, how can I have a connection to the Rebbe? The answer is it's not because you're able to connect to the Rebbe. It's because the Rebbe is enabling you to connect it. He put himself in such a way into everything that he said, everything that he wrote, everything that was printed in his name, that by touching that and learning that, he's connecting to the Rebbe. That's how you can connect. You may say, how's it possible? It's possible because the Rebbe made it so. He made himself so available in his Torah. But the Rebbe adds, finish the Sicha. The Rebbe adds, when a person connects to the Rebbe through learning the Rebbe's Torahs, the Rebbe says this includes to anything the Rebbe told the person, even if the Rebbe told you to do something seemingly simple, like teaching Aleph Beis to children. If you're going to go teach Aleph Beis because the Rebbe told you to do so, it's as if you're learning the Rebbe's Torah and you're being makusha to the Rebbe. These are things that maybe now a little more obvious than they were, but the Rebbe's teaching it that. And of course, we have to relearn these things. That Pasha, when the Rebbe tells you to do something, you're doing what the Rebbe says, that this Mifsayim, teaching Aleph Beis, that's like studying the Rebbe's Torah and you're connecting your makusha to the Rebbe. It's not enough. It's not enough that you say, well, I just learned Aleph Beis, so I can go relax. No, you have extra time. You study the actual Torah for yourself on your level. But while you're doing the Aleph Beis, and that's what you're supposed to be doing at that time, then you're being connected to the Rebbe. This idea of connecting to the Rebbe. Okay, now the Rebbe is getting even deeper in the concept of the skashas. What does it mean to be pusher to the Rebbe? It's not because that the Rebbe has something unique about the Rebbe that is in his holiness or special, as he's going to explain soon. That's what the connection is. The connection is the Rebbe part. The Rebbe is not a name of something else. The Rebbe is the whole thing. The name Rebbe is the essence of the Rebbe. Meaning, they once asked the Shmuel Mitzal, who was the teacher of the Frierdiker Rebbe, this Admar Mershab about the fifth Rebbe, the Rebbe Rishab, the Shema said, Imhu Bal Ruach HaKodesh. The Rebbe is Rebbe. Wow, he must have had Ruach HaKodesh, right? As if, what's special about the Rebbe? It's because he has Ruach HaKodesh, not that he's a Rebbe. The Heishav Suad, the Rashbat's answer was a big chassid. What's the difference? It doesn't make a difference to me if he has Ruach HaKodesh. That's not why I'm connected to him, because the Rebbe has something special about him. Rebbe. My whole connection to the Rebbe is because he's my Rebbe. If a Rebbe has his job as Rebbe, so to say, needs Ruach HaKodesh to be able to be a Rebbe, then surely he has it because he's a Rebbe. But if he doesn't need Ruach HaKodesh to be a Rebbe, why do I care about Ruach HaKodesh? I mean, what are you getting all excited about? The Rebbe's job is to be a Rebbe. These are very important ideas. The Rebbe gives an example. When it comes to comparing Adam to Avram, right, the first man to Avram Avinu, we find the description of Chazal about how great Adam was, so to say that his foot darkened the sun. That's how great he was, not just physically, but also, so to say, spiritually. So Adam was great, but the world was dark. He didn't change anything in the world. Until Avram was around, the world was in darkness. And when Avram comes, the light started to come to the world. It's also not important to know that there's a great person that once existed called Adam HaRishon, but he didn't do anything to the world. He didn't bring light to the world. When Abram came, the world started to light up, and that's the most important thing. Therefore, we connect to Abram, not the first man. Notwithstanding the fact that he was so great that his, so to say, his heel darkened the sun. So too with our Rebbe. The point to us is that a Rebbe brings light to the world. The teachings of Chassidus. We have to be connected to the Rebbe. It's not important that you could say that, oh, there's another person out there. That person could darken the sun, he's so great. Who cares? It's not important to me. The importance is that a Rebbe brings light to the world. That's what I'm connected to. The Rebbe said, what's a Rebbe? The Rebbe is connected to the essence of Hashem. So therefore, the most important for us is to be connected to the Rebbe, who's connected to the Ein Sof, to the infinite. Because the Rebbe is connected to Ein Sof, and we're connected to the Rebbe, so through the Rebbe, we're connected to the essence. Someone wrote me a letter. He's trying to write all these great things about the Friedrich Rebbe, the Rebbe says. He writes in amongst the great unique things and holy things, or praises of the Friedrich Rebbe. That's a Rebbe in Leningrad. That once he was with the Friedrich Rebbe in Leningrad, so obviously someone who knew the Rebbe in Russia. The Rebbe, the Rebbe was standing. This chassid was even older. So when he saw the Rebbe standing in Leningrad, it looked as if the Rebbe's father, the Rebbe Rashab, was standing there. That's how he's trying to say how great the Friedrich Rebbe was, that he once gave him the impression that he was his father. Another story. The Rebbe would tell the story actually all the time. The Rebbe would cry when he would say the story. Nichnas Elav Yehudi Zaken. A Yid came to the Friedrich Rebbe, an old Yid, who lived in Tel Aviv, I think. He knew already the Rebbe Maharash. When he saw the Friedrich Rebbe, the Rebbe would cry at this point. He saw that he fainted. When they woke him up from his faint, why do you faint? That seeing the Friedrich Rebbe looked evidently like the Rebbe Maharash. And therefore, he felt like he was standing in front of the Rebbe Maharash. Again, so great, the Friedrich Rebbe looks like his grandfather, the Rebbe Maharash. One person says he looks like his father, one says he looks like his grandfather. The Rebbe says, the one who wrote to the Rebbe about that the Friedrich Rebbe in Leningrad looked like the Rebbe Rashab, or the Chassid in Tel Aviv in Israel, Eretz Yisrael, who fainted because the Rebbe Friedrich Rebbe looked like the Rebbe Marash. It means they're trying to say that what's so great about the Rebbe Friedrich Rebbe that he looked like someone else. He reminded them of some great. They're trying to say that's how great the Rebbe was. That the Rebbe was so great that he reminded them, or he looked like the Rebbe Rashab, the Rebbe Marash. The Rebbe doesn't subscribe to that. They're saying, now understand that these are the Lubavitcher Rebbes. You're not going to tell me that the Friedrich Rebbe is great because he looks like his father, the Rebbe Rashab, or the Rebbe Marash, his grandfather. As a chassid, what's important to us? He's the Rebbe. It's not that the Rebbe doesn't have any side titles or uniquenesses, that the Rebbe is also something like that. Our connection to the Rebbe is because he's the Rebbe. The Rebbe means that one who's connected to Ein Sof, and by us connecting to him, we connect to Ein Sof. Atzmus U'Mahus Ein Sof. The definition of a Rebbe is the one who's connected with the infinite of Hashem. By days kashrus, I love when you connect to him. You're connecting to the essence. That's what's important. Everything else is nice stories. Separately, Misha, another Rebbe finished off this talk. Someone told me, be spileless again with great. It's very, very inspired. Friedrich Rebbe once told him, connect yourself to me. The Friedrich Rebbe says, connect yourself to me. By Yadai, and when you connect to me, then you'll be connected to who I'm connected to. The Rebbe says, this person thought, wow, what does that mean? When he says that Friedrich Rebbe says, connect to me, and you'll be connected to who I'm connected to. And he meant the Friedrich Rebbe was a chassid of his father. If you connect to me, I'll be as if you're connected to Rebbe Rashab. Rebbe says again, you're missing the point. That's why he's so excited. You connect to me, you're connected to God. stop over here. And we have a few more sifim. We'll finish the Sicha over either before or after Shabbos.